I used to wonder what really wealthy families did when they had a child showing signs of autism or diagnosed. But over my past 25 years working as a autism professional, doctoral level board certified behavior analyst, I actually have worked with celebrities, some royalty from other countries, as well as very wealthy individuals. And I learned some lessons that I have applied when we created our high touch coaching program in 2024. So today I'm going to cover the 5 lessons I've learned from working with high wealth individuals that we can all apply, both parents and professionals. So let's get to these 5 lessons for parents and professionals. So first of all, why I started high touch coaching. And then we'll talk about exactly what it is. So in the past, since 2003, when I became a board certified behavior analyst, I was doing really one-to-one work in homes, in schools, with teachers, some of which was through the Pennsylvania Verbal Behavior Project, which was a big statewide grant in the state of Pennsylvania where I live. That is actually still going strong. It's called the PATTAN, P-A-T-T-A-N, Autism Supports Initiative now. But we were in schools working elbow to elbow with teachers and speech pathologists and paraprofessionals and occupational therapists and everybody on the team, as well as parents, to really move things forward. I was also traveling around the world, especially after my first book, The Verbal Behavior Approach, traveling around doing keynote presentations, doing 2-day workshops. But that all kind of stopped when I started creating online courses for parents and professionals back in 2015. So we are just this month, we are celebrating our 10-year anniversary of online courses and communities that I've created, and I've had paid participants from over 100 countries. I often say it's easy enough for a novice parent or a new professional, but it's also comprehensive enough for seasoned behavior analysts who use the BB map and use all the procedures that I learned and taught over the past 25 years. So as I've been focusing on this and reaching millions of people, my YouTube channel has over 10 million video views over the years. And really, that's who I want to reach, everybody and anyone that will listen, because my goal now and my mission is to change the way autism is detected and treated forever around the world, even long after I'm gone. So in the process of the past decade, we've gotten a number of requests for me to do one-to-one consultation. I have, in the past years, I have worked one-to-one with a celebrity, actually a few celebrities. I've worked with a family that was royalty from another country. I've worked with high wealth individuals that owned private planes and those sorts of things. But when I would get requests for one-to-one consultation, now my mission is really to get people through the course and doing all the steps in the right order. So up until 2024, the answer to everyone was pretty much no. Mary doesn't do one-to-one coaching or consultation. So we did try a few programs. We tried a train the trainer program in 2023, and we had some success with that. We created a lot of our rubrics and our systems. And what we found was, even though people were going through the course, both parents and professionals, to become trainers, They were sending in their videos and sending in their assessments and their plans, and they were struggling. These videos showed us that there was a huge gap between what we were teaching in the online course and the production that was actually happening, and people were hitting kind of stumbling blocks. So starting in 2024, we created a high touch coaching program where me and my team facilitate the progression of moving parents. At this point, we've worked, well, the purchaser of the high touch coaching programs have been all parents, but we've worked with a number of professionals that the parents have brought on too. So it's basically that there's an application, marybarbera.com/high touch coaching. It is coaching, not consultation, because we really do rely on our system, our process, our analysis, our rubrics is to help kind of streamline the system. And some of the lessons that I'm going to go over now, 5 lessons that we can all use that have really shown themselves to be true. Okay, so lesson number 1 that I learned is that parents are confused. They're confused by the systems, the diagnosis, the wait lists, the options for diagnoses, the options for treatment. They're confused by the whole, whatever system they're in. If they're in the birth to 3 program, they're confused by how to get services, what that means if their child goes to daycare, what that means. These parents are willing to do anything, move their family across the country to find a good program, hire behavioral teams, get their child into schools that they have to privately pay, especially if these participants are from other countries outside of the US. They're willing to hire nannies, train nannies, invest their time and money to help their children in any way. Like I said, if they don't have a diagnosis, a lot of times they're experiencing some confusion with the birth to 3 program, who is, their child might be getting 1 hour of speech, 1 hour of OT, 1 hour of teacher time. And by the way, these were the services that my son Lucas got 25 years ago when he started showing delays and differences. Now, families in this category that are confused with a diagnosis, they're still confused. They're not getting great services across the board with all of our online high touch coaching participants. Across the board, they may be getting the number of hour services, but there's little to no parent training, coordination. There are situations where, the parents were learning through the online course, and then all of a sudden they got into an ABA provider, accepted them, got off the wait list. But when the ABA provider came in, they just wanted to, wipe away all the gains the parents had made on their own. And, pretty much like you're going to hear a lot of crying, and we're very anti-crying, the child needs to be happy, they need to be relaxed to learn. So not great therapy across the board from what we've seen. And there's long wait lists for any kind of ABA therapy, long wait lists for speech therapy, especially outside of the US. A lot of times they have nothing. They have to build teams and pay privately for everything. One of our high touch coaching participants is a mom. She has a 5-year-old daughter on the spectrum, and her older daughter made major gains by mom taking our online course a few years ago when she was first diagnosed. And this little girl, this little 5-year-old, is now in typical kindergarten, with minimal support. She's fully conversational. She still has some issues, but mom joined the high touch coaching program many months ago when her younger daughter, who was about 18 months of age, started showing some signs of autism. So, with the support of a nanny who she had in place, and the nannies in school to become a BCBA, and with our guidance through our high touch coaching program, the younger sister has really caught up in all areas. And when she went for her autism evaluation at 2, she started with us about 18 months. When she went at 2, they were very impressed by her social language and the gains she made while she was on the wait list. And um, the doctors knew that mom had stuff in place. She was going to continue on with her ABA verbal behavior programming that we had set up with her nanny, BCBA student. And they decided not to give her an autism diagnosis. They will continue to monitor her and continue to make sure that she doesn't need an autism diagnosis. So there's one example where this parent knew that our systems worked for her older daughter, and she saw the availability of the high touch coaching program and she was willing to dive in. And the nice thing about that was she has 2 kids. She has the older daughter and the little one, and she mostly joined for the little one, but we are also interested in helping her with both of her kids. So we were able to really give her some tips about her entering kindergarten, her picky eating, really helped her get some of those outstanding issues solved. Okay, so parents are confused. That's number 1. Number 2 is that the lesson I learned is that professionals are often working in silos. They are all well-meaning professionals, but in a lot of cases, they're giving contradictory advice to parents and team members. In the early intervention program, specifically that birth to 3 period, when the professionals are going into homes, there's usually no behavioral professional to take the lead or to guide individuals. So pacifier use, which Lucas used to be very addicted to a pacifier. I've seen pacifier addiction in many kids. And so the speech therapist might be saying, well, it's not good for, articulation, and we want to not plug the child up. And then the occupational therapist may come in, and from her perspective, it's a sensory soothing issue and would not recommend weaning. So there's an example where then the parent is having 2 professionals coming separately who are giving her, contradictory advice. I am a big proponent of weaning. I have a 6-step form of 6 steps to weaning. We can link that below. And I also don't want to do cold turkey where the child's freaking out. I want to systematically desensitize things as much as possible. So number 1, parents are confused. Number 2, professionals are often working in silos. Number 3 lesson I learned is that parents who invest time and money to become the captain of the ship, which I talk about in my newest book, Turn Autism Around, are often, kind of dismissed and not welcomed as an important part of the treatment team, because professionals aren't used to working with the gung-ho parents that my courses and high-touch coaching program actually produces. But parents within our course and within our programs are making huge gains in a lot of cases. And the more we can bring on local support, local BCBAs who are amenable to attending the high-touch calls, attending, watching the replays, watching the course, using our model of assessment, planning, intervention, and easy data. One of the BCBAs that attended one of the calls of a person I'm going to talk about in a minute, she was keeping rate data on problem behaviors, and I explained how partial interval data was probably going to be better for this child. We ended up doing a video blog on that. We can link in the show notes. And this BCBA has been wonderful to work with. And really, the better this BCBA is with this particular child, the better she'll be with all of her future clients, with all of her current clients. And so we just really want to embrace this. Parents who choose to become the captain of the ship, or give that duty off to the grandma, or give that duty off to the nanny, to really be the centerpiece where we can keep track of the interventions we're using and make sure everybody's on the same page. The kids tend to do a lot better. Okay, the number 4 lesson that I have learned over the past year with our high touch coaching program is that there is usually inconsistent handling of problem behaviors across the board. And this is causing huge problem behaviors in almost every case. A lot of separation anxiety when parents of young children begin, because the parents are using my techniques. And then when you try to bring in professionals, it's like, how are we going to begin to work with this child when they are just clinging to mom? The inconsistent handling of problem behaviors is also an inconsistent handling of how we teach these kids. In the early intervention, birth to 5 even, there's a lot of advice to follow the child's lead. And this just gets to be where you're chasing the children around too much. There's little to no progress. And there's little to no focus on helping parents with real life issues like sleeping, picky eating, going to the doctor's, dentist, haircuts without a fuss, going to the grocery store. And that's where our program, I say we have like spinning plates. We've got self-care going, we've got sleep issues, we've got talking, we have tantrums, we have going to the doctors without a fuss. We've got a lot of things that we're working on all at the same time. And that's really the way kids are going to make the most gains. Okay, I told you about the one high touch coaching participant. Now, let me tell you another story about another set of parents. They have a 2-year-old. The mom is a physician, and the 2-year-old was diagnosed with autism. She had ABA starting or in place, but it wasn't going well because mom, the child would not separate, clinging to mom. So then anybody that would come in to try to do therapy, early intervention or ABA therapy, was having a hard time, obviously. So we recommended a lot of things. One of the things we recommended was to have a bag of reinforcers in, say, the mudroom or in a box that only was accessed when the new professional came in. So they would grab the bag. Oh, Susie's here with her big bag. And then mom would not try to leave the room and have the child cry, but stay with the child and have the new person, the professional, be the giver of good things and have mom just kind of sit nearby, but not, that's the way we can gradually pair things. And that was just one of the many ways we got the child from being calm around mom and learning and staying in the learning table area and learning and having a reduction of problem behaviors, to having the behavior tech and the BCBA also do the same kind of learning. So this child, who's 2.5, went from 40% language score on the BECA, the Barbera Early Childhood Assessment, which is still free. We'll link it in the show notes. He went from a 40% in language to 70%. Problem behaviors went down dramatically. This was the child that we started partial interval data, and he's showing some nice progress with that. And the BCBA, they actually had to switch BCBAs because the one BCBA that was assigned to the case was not that interested in working with mom and working, to try to implement some of these newer techniques. So it's actually a newer, less seasoned BCBA who came on board, but very open to feedback, and this has been working out great. The tech also started attending meetings, and the videos of his table time improved with all team members, not just with mom leading the way. And this family no longer feels stuck. Progress is being made. Family knows how to engage a child during all their waking hours, and all environments are improving. Okay, and the final lesson I learned and my team learned this year with high touch coaching is that age, whether there's a diagnosis of autism or not, doesn't matter. It's still the same proven 4 steps of the Barbera Method: assessment, planning, intervention or teaching, and using easy data to make sure your procedures are working. And that if you can afford it and you want to make the investment, and we spend a lot of money on our kids over the years, especially, when they're in school and when they're under 18, we spend a lot of money. But if we can invest the time and money and actually get feedback about videos and get feedback about the assessment turning into a plan, we can get feedback about how to find local support. If you're out there and you're like, I wish I knew how to find good BCBAs, good speech pathologists who know these proven and positive procedures, I usually recommend, and we can link in the show notes, the school versus home ABA and 4 myths about ABA treatment. But if I'm going to look for behavioral professionals, especially in your local area, I usually recommend searching ABA, autism, VB-MAP, because ABA centers who use the VB-MAP, ABA providers in homes and in schools and in clinics that use the VB-MAP tend to use or be open to the procedures that I teach, because Dr. Mark Sundberg, who's the creator of the VB-MAP, was a huge mentor of mine. So, and then you do your city and state or country, and then you start interviewing people and tell them how you want to be a part, you want to be involved, and you want proven strategies in your home, school, or clinic. So it's the process. It doesn't matter what age, what ability level. I mean, I do work with kids usually who are not conversational. Although we've had a few high touch coaching programs where language really isn't an issue. It's problem behaviors and self-care, and maybe there are some slight holes in language, but that's the beauty of it. I think because I'm a nurse, because I'm a parent and an advocate and a doctoral level behavior analyst, I can really look at the whole picture, and we can give guidance to find local people, to train local people, and to train yourselves and anybody interacting with the child to use a positive, child-friendly, 4-step proven approach. So hopefully that was helpful. These 5 lessons, you can review them. You can look in the show notes for them written out. And today we focused on the high touch coaching program, which is available by application only we want to make sure it's a good fit for you. And we have 2 options for that, marybarbera.com/high touch coaching. We also have an online course and community. We have 2 communities and 2 courses, the toddler and preschooler course for kids ages 18 months to 5. And then for a school age course for parents and professionals of kids over 6. These online courses and communities are now 90-day programs instead of the 60 days, which it has been for years. You can go step by step through the videos and make lots of progress. We have, as you go, we'll recommend homework assignments. Now, if you're not a part of the High Touch Coaching Program, you're not going to be able to turn those in for our individualized feedback, but it's very step by step. And if you're motivated or you have a professional who's willing to learn with you and really help you go step by step, that certainly is a great option. And finally, we have a 5 Days to More Talking mini course that's newly revised and at a very low cost. So you want to check out all the details. We'll link that below this video. And whatever you do, I would really urge you not to stay in the sea of free, quote unquote, because there's a lot of step-by-step guidance that will really help you help your child or clients go from point A to point B and continue to go in a positive direction. So hopefully that was helpful. The 5 lessons I learned, and I'm continuing to learn every day. So here's to really making this year and the coming years as productive as possible, and looking forward to huge gains with all of our online participants and our high touch coaching participants too. So have a good one. See you here next week.